Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into
Despite
it.
its rather small size, the automobile fuse is of great importance to the performance of the vehicle and each of its individual systems. The reliability and condition of the fuse directly affects the integrity and safety of the entire vehicle. Every motorist must know what fuses are and where they are located. This will allow, if necessary, to replace them with their own hands, without seeking help from specialists. Fuses are necessary to protect the onboard electrical system from sharp voltage spikes that occur in the event of a short circuit. Thanks to the fusible element, it melts in case of danger, thus breaking the contact between the equipment and the power going to it. By opening the network, only the fuse burns out, but the unit, system, or machine that was protected by it remains intact. There is nothing terrible in the failure of these elements. Replacement is easy to perform with your own hands, and they themselves are quite cheap. Their cost is tens, and sometimes hundreds of times less than the price of the equipment that protects the fuse. Varieties. First, let's understand the existing types of automobile fuses. They can be classified according to the materials used and the design itself. Since now everyone knows what these very fuses are needed in the car, it is worth studying their varieties. Now to the question of what are the fuses used in the car. Let's start with the materials of manufacture. Here the key role is played by what exactly the fusible component is made of. Therefore, the elements are divided into aluminum, tin, lead, alloy, a combination of lead and tin. The most important characteristic of the product is the speed or tripping time. This is the time interval in which the fusible link can melt and disconnect the circuit. The faster the insert can melt, the less likely it is that the protected equipment will be damaged. To achieve the desired result, these inserts are made of special alloys and metals that are characterized by a low melting point. They are capable of rapidly changing from solid to liquid state. To increase the speed of operation, some fuses are additionally designed with a spring-loaded system. Fuses used for automobiles can be divided into finger and flag fuses. Finger products are widespread on classic car models of the domestic automobile manufacturer represented by Avtoviese. These are rods on which a special fusible link is put on. At the same time, finger protective structures for autos are divided into plastic and ceramic fuses. Given some features of fuse blocks, which are equipped with Ziguli cars, the most preferable option is considered to be the ceramic element. It has greater resistance to high temperature, are considered more reliable, and do not contribute to false triggering if the fuse begins to get warm. But on modern automobiles, the finger designs have been abandoned. Now the main mass of fuses is represented by flag safety elements. They are superior to their finger counterparts in terms of convenience of use, as well as ahead in terms of reliability. Flag fuses are also often called knife fuses because their design provides for the presence of a pair of legs necessary for contact when installed in its socket inside the fuse block. The name flag fuses can be explained by the rectangular or square top part, where the fusible element or jumper itself is located. The heads on the flags make different colors, which directly depends on the nominal value. Visually really resembles a flag, whence the corresponding name. Flag elements in the fuse box are valued for a good and strong contact in the seating socket. But to remove the device requires the use of a special device. Car manufacturers have taken this into account and placed plastic pliers on the cover of the fuse box on the inside of the fuse box. If necessary, such a tool can be easily found in any automotive supply store. If you act in extreme conditions, or simply do not have time to look for and buy pliers, you can grasp the flag with the help of pliers. But here it is extremely important to be careful not to accidentally provoke a short circuit of the leads. It is still better to take a specialized device. Notion of nominal value. To study all existing types of fuses used for cars, it is not enough to know about the design and material. Here of great importance are the ratings, that is, the size of the current that the element is able to pass through itself. When choosing fuses for the car, which are needed as a replacement for burned out, it is always and necessarily necessary to look at this characteristic. The fact is that on different electric lines in the vehicle is connected to a different amount of electrically dependent equipment. Each power consumer has its own specific power. It is quite logical and natural that the power supply circuit for the head optics needs a much higher capacity than in the case of the power supply circuit for the interior lighting. This means that the headlight fuse must have a higher capacity than the protective element for the interior lighting. The rating, meaning the amperage capable of passing through the fuse, is measured in amps. The rating depends largely on what type of fuse is used. Flag fuses are much more diverse in this component and are available with different ratings. And already quite outdated finger designs have only two types of ratings. This is 16 and 8 amperes. Dependence of color on the nominal value. Experienced motorists can simply tell by the color of the flag fuse exactly what the rating of a particular fuse is. It is not superfluous to study all types of ratings and types of their color designation. The presented varieties of protective elements are standardized and therefore are used on all modern cars. That is, car fuses of different brands and models still have approximately the same color design, depending on the value of the rating. May differ in shades. We suggest that you also familiarize yourself with this characteristic and find out at which color what nominal value of current will be the protective component. 1 amp fuses are colored black. If the color is gray, then the current through the element will be 2A. Violet coloring is used for devices with a rating of 3A. 5A is determined by brown-yellow color. Pure brown color corresponds to 7.5A. If you see a red flag, that's 10 amps. 15 amps uses blue paint. All yellow fuses are 20 amps. 25 amp fuses come in white. Green elements mean that the rating is 30 amps. Orange flags are 40 amps. 60A fuses are identified in blue. Light brown elements mean 70A. 80A can be recognized by the light yellow color. All lilac devices go to 100A. Read also, what are polarizing glasses for motorists and how to choose them correctly. It is important to take into account that the shades of the devices may be slightly different. Therefore, it is better to have a preliminary look in the operating manual of your particular car, as well as carefully study the information on the cover of the fuse box and the numerical designations on the fuses themselves. The nominal value is calculated on the basis of what load is placed on the electric circuit when all consumers powered through the fuse are turned on, plus a small safety margin. All these parameters are calculated at the production stage. Information about the location and purpose of each individual fuse is described in detail in the operating manual and repair manuals. Plus, the fuse box cover itself also contains useful and necessary information for the motorist. Before replacing the burned element, you need to check what is its nominal value by the same flag and install it in place of the old protection element. Why it is important not to mix up fuses. Each of you is already well aware and understands that all fuses have a specific rating, and it is adapted to specific sockets. Each socket leads to a particular electrical line in the vehicle. If a motorist mistakenly or due to lack of knowledge confuses the sockets for fuses that are different in rating, quite serious problems can arise. When the rating is too small, the fusible element will be destroyed very quickly under relatively small loads. The electrically dependent equipment itself, to which this fuse is connected, can operate normally and under standard loads. But the protective element itself is adapted for lower currents. And if it encounters a value that exceeds its melting threshold, the fusible component is destroyed, the circuit is eroded, and the equipment is switched off. Here it is not necessarily necessary that a short circuit occurs. The fuse will blow without it. There is also another situation, when fuses designed for a large load are installed in place of a fusible flag with a small rating. Then nothing can happen to the protective element, even if the current rises significantly, up to a short circuit. The fusible component does not perceive the load as high, but for the safety equipment the values have exceeded the permissible limit. A short circuit occurs, and the circuit does not open. Since the protective element has not been triggered, the car wiring starts to burn, and the entire equipment may fail. As you can clearly see, it is highly undesirable to confuse fuses that have different nominal values. It is necessary to use only those fusible elements that the car manufacturer has provided for each specific seat in the fuse block. The same factor prohibits and strongly discourages the use of improvised means, such as wire, coin, and other tools when replacing fuses. Usually this is done in situations where special pliers are not available, and you need to urgently change the burned element. But you are taking a big risk by using improvised tools. This is especially true for any metal objects. Read also, how to choose the right car antenna. It is important to realize that a fuse is unlikely to blow if it is installed in the correct socket and has the correct rating. You cannot use a wire or coin to open a circuit when there is a short circuit in the electrical equipment. You will only cause more problems. Your attempt to use a metal object can lead to fire and fire. That's why only specialty pliers. If you have lost the factory tool, which is usually located on the inside of the fuse box cover, buy new pliers from an auto store. Recommendations for selection. To ensure that the fuse does not fail at the most crucial moment, before installing it, it is necessary to make sure that the protective characteristics of the element are effective. Old burned-out flags are not reparable. These are affordable consumables, which are changed as necessary. But before installing a new element, you need to understand the reasons for the failure of its predecessor. When there are problems in the car, a simple replacement will do nothing. The new fuse will burn out as quickly as the previous one. Changing it several times a week is definitely not an option. If the problem with the car is solved, then you can safely buy and install the protective component in the fuse box in the appropriate rated seating socket. When choosing, it is recommended to adhere to a few simple tips. Manufacturer. Trust well-established companies that produce truly quality products. Since fuses are cheap and very much in demand, many are trying to bring their product to the market. And far from always it has a good level of quality. Even such elements are better to take from proven manufacturers. Place of purchase. Beautiful packaging and a well-known name on it does not mean that you have a good fuse in front of you. Often motorists are faced with fakes and cheap copies of original protective devices. To avoid such situations, it is recommended to contact certified sellers and stores with a good reputation. Thickness. It happens that fuses with different ratings have exactly the same thickness of fusible links in their design. This is a clear sign of a counterfeit or low-quality product. The higher the rating, the thicker the jumper, as it is designed to melt under higher loads. If you notice the same thickness on nominally different fuses, safely throw out the entire package. Such elements are not suitable for use. Short circuit test. Rarely fuses are sold and bought piece by piece. Usually it is a whole package, which long and faithfully serves the car owner, stored in the garage or in the car, so that if necessary, there was always a spare fuse. It is possible to sacrifice one of them, thus making sure of the quality of the entire batch. To do this, short-circuit the fuse manually. Only it is not necessary to sacrifice your car for this purpose. It is enough to connect a pair of wires to the pins of the protective element through the terminals of the MAMA type and connect the opposite ends to the pins on the car battery. At the same time, be sure to disconnect the battery from the electrical network of the vehicle itself. After such a connection, a good and functioning fuse burns out. If the fusible element remains intact, but the body itself begins to melt, you have bad fuses in front of you. It is strongly not recommended to use them. The most effective way to ensure long and trouble-free operation of the fuses is to take a number of measures to prevent possible short circuits in the onboard electrical network. Try not to overload the car with unnecessary equipment. Realistically assess the capabilities of the generator and battery. Also, always keep an eye on the condition of electrically dependent units, systems, and mechanisms. It is impossible to fully protect against short circuits and overloading of the vehicle electrical system. For this purpose, and special fuses are provided, which actually sacrifice themselves so that the equipment itself does not suffer. After all, its cost is significantly higher compared to the price of one simple fuse. In conclusion, selecting the right car fuses is essential for maintaining your vehicle's electrical system and ensuring safety on the road. By understanding the different types of fuses, their ratings, and the specific needs of your car, you can make informed decisions that will help prevent electrical failures. Always refer to your vehicle's manual for guidance, and remember to replace any blown fuses promptly. With the right knowledge and tools, you can keep your car running smoothly and efficiently. Thank you for watching, and drive safely.